show. Let's get it. Today we're going to talk about the love for your grandparents. Be grateful, be thankful, and love your grandparents. Lego.
Yeah, told her, us too. These rap niggas scared of somebody like me. Ho, flame waves attached to their necks. They gotta scream like yo's gasping for attraction, but they backwards. Schizo, one up in the air for those trying to keep afloat. I be that nigga over there, but nobody gon' leave me alone. Lay way back in the whip with my team of smoke expanded in the wagon, dumping ashes out the window. The radio ain't bumping your mess. Said the iPhone. You looking for the one, but I'm the dose 3. Dunking on your team easy, I'm a FHP. You looking for the one, but I'm the dose 3. Dunking on your team easy is 1, 2, 3. Every hour spraying mower, that body spray aroma. Raid a few ciphers, kill these house slave roaches. Find me where you wanna, bet you I'll be where you wanna be. By a telescope, still your eyes ain't open. I know where your home is online. Niggas gon' speak, spider on your soul. To eyes, let it show his teeth. So lit toes and stand up and slim your temper. If a nigga hit you in your gut, you'll be your beats. You looking for the one, but I'm the dose 3. A real gent but play rough with the coach's knees. Got my own team, fuck the industry. How we killing them? Maybe we had guns, so they OD. You looking for the one, but I'm the dose 3. Dunking on your team easy, I'm a FHP. You looking for the one, but I'm the dose 3. Dunking on your team easy is 1, 2, 3.
Yes, sir. Be thankful for your grandparents, man. That's the most important thing in life is doing that. Because basically they the one that really created us before our parents did. Let's give a round of applause for that. But yes, man, this is the Anakin 9.5 Beats, this early morning show. And I just want to thank all of my subscribers. I want to thank all the people that hit the like button. I also want to thank the people that really comment to my channel. It's very important. It's been a long road, man. I guess I would say about 4 or 5, probably about 4 or 5 months. I've really been going strong with this, and I'm very, very appreciative to all the people that come to my channel. Anakin 9.5 Beats Gang Gang. Let's go. But in the meantime, I'm not going to talk about sports today. I'm not going to talk about entertainment. I'm just focusing on our grandparents. For the ones that have grandparents that have passed, hey man, I know y'all missed them. Let's give it up for that right there, man. You know, and I want to talk about my grandmother and my grandparents for a minute, and then I'll just break it down as far as grandparents and how it's all coming about for the youngsters that's coming up in life. You know, you gotta be thankful for your grandparents because you'll never get them back, and you know that they really went through the struggle. They really did. They went through the struggle. They are the reason why you are here, young people, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen. And if you didn't get a chance to be around your grandparents, then you could just listen to my story of my grandparents and what I experienced and what I went through when it comes to my grandfather, my grandmother. You know what I'm saying? I really didn't get a chance to be around one of my grandparents, which was my grandfather, on my dad's side. I didn't get a chance to. I mean, I was a kid. You know, really, I was a baby. he died. I know all the information is still in my head, but he died when I was like 3 years old. You know, I was born in 1978, and he died in 1981. But we still gonna give a round of applause for my grandfather. Give it up for my MO, man. But yeah, before I started talking about my grandparents and the beautiful things in life that they instilled into all of us in my family on both sides, for the young people and for the people that still have their grandparents, I just want to let you know that it is a blessing. It is. It's a blessing if you still have your grandparents. And having your grandparents is better than going on YouTube. It's better than going to Googling. It's better than going to a dictionary. And it's better than watching porn movies. You know what I'm saying? Because you can actually talk to them. And you can really find out your history instead of paying all this money to see where you're from, you know, where your ancestors was. I'm pretty sure your grandparents can give you that information. And if they can't, then you know what I'm saying, that's on them. But yeah, to all the young people, if you do have grandparents, they are the enforcers. They are the ones that can tell you everything about yourself, everything about them. They can tell you everything that ever happened in your life and in their lives when they were kids. And it's better than watching movies. It's better than talk to your aunties or your uncles. You know, they play an important part in your life. That's why you should be thankful. Now, why should you be thankful for your grandparents? Okay. You should be thankful for the grandparents because they came at a time where we didn't have cell phones, right? Nah, we didn't have cell phones. We didn't have computers. We didn't really have radios. You know what I'm saying? Well, they didn't have radios. They didn't have TVs. And they didn't have phones. They pretty much just lived off of salvation. You know what I mean? Like, for instance, my grandmother, she's still living. She's 98 years old. And she's living better than most of us. Let's give her a round of applause for that. And she can tell me stories back in the early 1900s, how it used to be. And the great thing about my grandmother is she's like, she think this shit is real funny out here, how the world is now and how things are so different. It actually, she's amused about the whole situation. She never thought that it would get to this point. And we talking about a woman that had to walk to school with no shoes. And when she did go to school, you know what I'm saying? She didn't have books, brand new books. You know, the slave masters gave all the slaves books that they had, and they were all worn out and tore up, and you could barely read out of the book. And they were taught different. The slaves were taught different than the white people that could go to school and have good food and good drinks and the best teachers. But let's give it out to all the white teachers out there back in the early 1900s that took the time out to help people like my grandmother and your grandmother when it comes to black and white. Okay, let's give it up for them. And listen here, people, I'm not trying to make this a black and white thing, okay? My damn kids are mixed. Let's get that shit straight, okay? My kids are biracial. So this is not an interracial conversation. I'm just breaking it down for y'all. But getting back to my grandmother real quick. So yeah, she had to walk to school, and then when she got out of school, she didn't pass after I think she said sixth, seventh grade, she started going to school and she started working. But the funny thing is she was already working when she was 5, 6 years old on a cotton field, picking cotton and picking vegetables. So she didn't have the privilege to go to high school and do prom. She went straight to work. My grandma she said she been working, well, she don't work now, of course. Nah. But she started working real early in her life. And I think that instilled into her family, which is my family, which is my whole grandmother family, is all resonating that we all like to work, no matter if it's hands on or if it's mental. In my family, she had 12 kids. My grandfather was in the military for a few years. He was in the Marines. And the interesting story about my grandparents is my grandmother always worked, and she had 12 kids and worked. You know what I'm saying? She did both. She worked harder than my grandfather, from what I understand. Yeah, he was in the military, and then I think things didn't work out. He got out. I haven't got the conclusive story because when I did talk to her, many a nights, especially during the COVID in 2020, she told me a lot of stories. Me and her used to talk on the phone um, from 2 o'clock in the morning to about, I don't know, 6, 7 o'clock in the morning. I used to just ask her questions about life. So my grandfather eventually got out of the military, couldn't find a job, and she helped him find a job. She said, "Boy, you ain't going nowhere." You know what I'm saying? And she said she was the one behind closed doors that was running the show, even though he did run the show. You know what I mean? She ran the show behind closed doors. Don't get me wrong. There's a lot of things that played out with that too. And I'll get into detail with that in another segment, another show. But we're gonna keep it semi-positive, semi-negative, you know what I mean? But he was a strong man, strong black man, coming out the military, didn't have a job, and he finally got a job at a plant. And this is in Louisville, Georgia. She knew somebody that knew somebody that knew somebody that got him a job. A big boy job. You understand what I'm saying? And it was called Thermo-King in Louisville, Georgia. And he kept that job all the way till he retired, which was really cool. So I would say, I don't know, 1960s, maybe 70s, all the way up to the time he died, which was in, I think, the early 2000s. Yeah, that was a blessing. I think he actually retired before the early 2000s because he was already 60 some years old in 1991. Boy, I know my shit, don't I? Yeah, my auntie, she graduated in 1991. I was in middle school. Isn't that crazy? My grandma was having kids when she was 50. You feel me? That's a strong black woman. But yeah, she told me that she was the one behind closed doors that ran the show. He ran the show outside, getting money, bringing, providing. He also had a big garden, man. I would say maybe an acre or two. And when they were much younger, they had their own garden. You know what I'm saying? They had a house, they had a well. They used to take shits outside, dig a hole. You know what I'm saying? Let's give it up for that right there. Had the wood burning stove in the middle of the center of the small house with all those badass kids, which would be my uncles and my auntie. Yeah, they had to chop wood, kill squirrels, kill rabbits, kill possums to survive. It's crazy how, and then look at my mom. She's probably about 78, 79. So she could tell me stories too, but I'd rather go to my grandmother. But my grandfather taught discipline in the house. He was a tidy person that, he wanted to make sure everybody in the house clean, keep the house spotless. If you messed up anything in the house, you know what I'm saying, you was gonna get punished. Tear that ass up, you know what I'm saying? We call that act right. So that instilled in my uncles and my aunts the willpower to want to be clean and want to cook and make sure everything was in order. But if you really think about it, my grandmother kept everything in order too. She taught all her uncles and all my uncles and my aunts pretty much how to cook. If they didn't know how to cook, they knew how to clean. If they didn't know how to clean, they know how to cook. You know what I mean? And they just all was focused. And you know what it did? It instilled in them to want to leave the house. You know what I'm saying? They all got out that house when it's 18. It was no, I'm going to stay here and live off y'all for the rest of the life, their life. Nah, they all got out and they all are successful. Let's give it up for that right there. So she was a great cook. You know, she was a chef at a hotel in Louisville, Georgia. She always knew how to cook. If she didn't know how to do anything, my grandma started cooking when she was a kid. And most of us, grandchildren, and in our family, we all know how to cook if we don't know how to do anything else. We all know how to cook. And I love when she give us those recipes and they don't be accurate, but they still taste good if you know what you're doing. I love that shit. You be like, Grandma, how you cook some collard greens? She ain't gonna tell you every damn thing. She'll tell you, hey, well, you know what I'm saying? You need some baking soda. You can use fatback, but I like ham hock. And you know, you rinse them off, you dry them real good, you chop it up, and you gotta make sure you put it in a tub of water and soak it in baking soda. Am I right or wrong? But she don't say nothing about no salt and pepper. You be like, well, do I put any garlic? I put any salt and pepper in there? No, baby, it's the ham hocks, baby. It's the ham hocks. And my granddaddy was the kind of military guy, even though he didn't was in the military that long, he would walk around and always have a cigar in his mouth. He would walk real slow. And all his clothes was always pressed and dressed, you know what I'm saying, pressed up. And he had a deep voice. So I get my deep voice from my grandfather. That's where my deep voice comes from. And they would always go to church on Sunday. You had to go to church every Sunday. I'm talking about as grandchildren, we had to go to church. And at these churches back in the day, these old folks churches, what I call it old folks, oh my Lord. These churches, man, they didn't have no damn drums and no lights and cameras and trombones and visuals. Man, everybody, you know how they would make their music? They would make their music stumping their feet. And they have one person lead the song. And then everybody in the church, even if it was 15 to 50 people, would sing. And that's why I don't take church as serious as I did back in the day. Because it's all about feeling. It's about the soul. It's about feeling your soul. It's not about the instruments. You know what I mean? And it's not about how the preacher is dressed or how hype he is to get the message. It's about all the people coming together as one, singing together, feeling the Holy Spirit. Let's give it up for that right there. Yes, this is true. So that's a little bit of my grandmother and my grandfather on that side. You know what I mean? And they really was strong about discipline. You know, you got your ass toe up. That's the honest God truth. You got your ass toe all the way up. Now this is when it comes to their kids, which would be my uncle and my aunts. All right. Now, what they used to do is during the summertime, all her kids would drop all of us off at my grandmother and my granddad's house. So we would spend the summers over there for 2 or 3 weeks, maybe a month, at my grandmother's house and grandfather's house in Louisville, Georgia. And that's where we adapted how to play outside, drink from the hose pipe. You know what I'm saying? Go climb up a scovendine tree. You dig? Hide and go seek. Also, we used to she used to give us old pots and pans, and we would take dirt and put it in the pots and pans. I'm talking about bakery stuff, and make a cake. She would give us old icing, and we would take icing and make cakes out of it. Put the icing on take the dirt out of the cake pan thing and then put ice on it and it look like a real cake. That's why these kids today, they don't really know what fun is. They don't really know what being creative is. Some of them do now, don't get me wrong. Some of us still have our allegiance to our grandparents and we still shape up our kids, which is good, to the way we grew up. They need to know these things. That way technology won't take over our kids and your kids, the new generation. When y'all have kids, y'all gotta learn from your grandparents. Or listen to your mom and dad, man. For real, for real. And if your mom ain't dead, if your mom and dad is not around, talk to one of your friends' parents and ask them how that shit went down. You feel me? Yeah, we learned a lot of things outside, man. We used to walk to the store. A whole gang of us used to walk to the store and buy candy. Our parents would give us money, and we would take our money, and we had to take all that money, right, for that whole 2, 3 weeks, for the whole month. We would take that money and buy us candy and buy us stuff. But for the most part, my grandmother and grandfather used to spoil us and give us what we want. We never got whoopings. I mean, I used to get on my granddad. I used to go after him, man. And my aunt's uncle was like, how you, he don't even, man, when that was us, man, we used to get our butt tore up, man. You know, I was a badass kid. You know what I mean? I was a good kid, very knowledgeable, could do anything, but I was mischievous, um, very petty, and I was entitled. I was spoiled. I was the only child when it comes to my mom and my dad. The only child. So you gotta imagine. All my other cousins had brothers and sisters. So when I get on over there, hey, I got special attention, you know, special needs. I remember one time my grandmother told me, I don't know if y'all know, but for Generation X, my cousin's Cabbage Patch Dolls came out, right? The Cabbage Patch Dolls came out, and my dumb ass wanted a Cabbage Patch. And they would, but see, they had doggone manipulated me. They had doggone got in my head like, yeah, we got a Cabbage Patch Doll. You know what I'm saying? We got it. It's got a name and everything. I was like, well, man, I want a little brother. I want a little Cabbage Patch Doll. I want me a little brother named Cabbage Doll. I didn't want no girl Cabbage Patch Doll. Don't be, hey, listen, don't be fucking with me. I wanted a little brother. That's what I wanted. And they wouldn't get it for me. My granddaddy said, hell, boy, we ain't giving you no damn Cabbage Patch Doll. Your mama and your daddy gonna kill me. So you know what he did? He got me some damn G.I. Joes. Man, I was mad as hell. And then you know my little cousins in the car, they was throwing that shit in my face. We got a Cabbage Patch Doll. They don't want to tell the whole story. We got a Cabbage Patch Doll. We got a Cabbage Patch Doll. Man, I jumped out that car. My grandma said when we got back to the house, I jumped out that car and went after my granddaddy with a stick, man. Damn, that's fucked up. Yeah, that's that cancer in me, June 25th, 1978. But shit like that, you can never overcome that, man. Like that's some beautiful days. We also had a chance to. My grandfather had a garden in the backyard, like I said, an acre or two, and we learned how to shell peas. We learned how to shuck corn. We went out there and did the potatoes. But my other cousins, they did that, man. I was riding there with me and my other cousin. We was riding bikes and shit, running around the house. You know what I mean? So we really didn't have to, when you got a certain age, 13, 12, 14, you would go out in the garden and dig potatoes, watermelons, shit like that. And then the young kids, for us, we would play around the house. And then when they would get all the stuff and bring it to the house, that's when we shell peas, butter beans. Shell them butter beans in your hands, be green as fuck, man. Like a orange, like a Sprite or some shit. Yeah, I learned so much. Me and my family, when it comes to my cousins, my comrades, we learned so much when it comes to growing up. That's why I can take care of myself. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, I don't need nobody because my grandparents really raised me how to doggone make it and how to survive without cell phones, without TVs, without music. That's the most important thing in life that you can never take away. And then on my other side, my grandmother and my grandfather, my My grandfather was a preacher, the one I said that died in 1981. So I really never knew him, but I did talk to my grandmother about him at the time. Rest in peace, both of them. They're both Geminis. Give it out for the Geminis. Now, my grandfather, from what I understand on that situation, he was a preacher. He had 6, 7 churches, and he was a custodian. He smoked cigarettes, and he liked to drink. I don't give a fuck what y'all said. That's what I know. But he was kind-hearted and would do anything for everybody. They say he never really got mad, never really got upset. You know, I guess when you're on that drink, you know what I'm saying, you got to chill, you know what I mean? And he was a great preacher. And people just loved him. They loved him more than you can imagine, 1,000 times. And he wasn't really outspoken. But then my grandma in Gemini, she was very outspoken, bad and bougie, that way. Yes, sir. Miss M.O., she taught that shit. You know what I mean? She was very involved in church. We all grew up in the church when it comes to on my dad's side. And then my dad eventually became a preacher after his trials and tribulations. Let's give it up for my dad. Rest in peace, Rev. So my grandmother, she pretty much was in the judicial system as far as being a nurse. She took care of a lot of top lawyers and doctors and judges' kids. And she eventually just retired and did it at her house. So with my grandmother on my dad's side, we learned how to raise kids when I got older. She had babies over there during the course of the day, and then we would go to school and we would get dropped off at her house and help her raise kids. You know, change diapers, fix food for them, go outside and play. So when all of us had our own kids, the ones that did, we ain't had no problem taking care of no kids. Let's give it up for that. But let me tell you something, man. She still treated us like we was in the hood. That's a fact. And even though we really wasn't in the hood. Yeah. She got government assistance. I ain't even know what that was. You know, the peanut butter in the can, it was under the sink. And all you can see when you open up the can was a whole bunch of oil and roaches running around everywhere. You know what I mean? Not to mention, at church, when we have church anniversaries, if you don't know a church anniversary when it comes to black people, it's when everybody get together and they have one big bash. As far as all the other churches come in, and they pick a preacher, and it's just one big celebration, man. When it comes to church anniversaries, let's give it up for the church anniversary. But yeah, getting to my grandmother, she would literally take the food from the anniversary churches, put them all in Ziploc bag, and feed us for months, and that's a fact. You talking about a woman that saved money? Oh my God, that woman had so much money. You know, them Geminis, they be real tricky, man. She had so much money. She always saved a penny of a dime. And she always would tell you, I don't got no money. I don't got no money. Let me tell you, this woman used to have houses in the hood, and she would rent out. She would take I don't know if she had a gun, but I know she had a stick with her, and she used to go get her money, for real. And she was on government assistance, but she ain't really need that. She was a hustler, man. A New Jack Swing hustler, if y'all know what New Jack Swing is. So you see what I'm getting at? Your grandparents plays an important role in your life. They do. And if you didn't know that, it's time to take a chance and talk to your grandparents. It's very important. Don't forget that. So, for all the people in the world, when it comes to your grandparents, talk to them. Listen to them. They can teach you things that you never knew about yourself. They can teach you things that you would never experience in life. And that's the truth. They hold the weight, they hold your future. And some of y'all in the hood, right? You was raised by your grandparents. You was raised by your grandmother. I think most people in the hood, right? They always raised by their grandmother. Their grandfather wasn't around, which is really sad. So that side of your family, when it comes to your grandmother, she's gonna be very, very, very attentive, cut your ass out, and give you that act right. But she always gonna feed you. And what's the one thing? You better get your ass up and go to school. We all have learned so many things from our grandparents. It's just beautiful. And let's talk about people that are very wealthy and rich. What about y'all grandparents? That's a whole nother different element. Because think about all the rich grandparents. They have everything set up for you, right? They got all the money in the world. They gonna make sure your finances take care of for you to go to school. They gonna make sure you got a good job. They gonna have houses ready for you to go when you get married. It's gonna be constructive criticism because they didn't have to. Well, I would say this: no matter if you're white or black, anybody grandparents that are rich and wealthy, they are very, very controlling. I mean, to the utmost. It's just the standard. You know what I mean? So you see how everybody living different lives when they come to grandparents. But that's cool if your grandparents or they were really rich and they were able to own land and able to doggone put you in a position so when you do graduate from high school, you are already set. But the sad thing about that is when your grandparents already got your life planned for you and you have to abide by that and you have to go that direction. That's kind of sad. I know people that with their grandparents were really mean. They had a lot of money, but they had to really go that direction to even get some money. So then you got kids out here that like, oh, I can't wait till my grandparents die. That's not cool. That's not cool at all. But we still gonna have it. Nah, it's not cool. And that's the negative part about having grandparents that are really rich and got a lot of money. Because you really can't talk about grandparents that didn't exist in your life. So for the ones that don't have no grandparents, you really missed out. And the ones that do have grandparents, you young, like eventually I'm going to be a grandparent and I feel like I'm going to be a great grandparent. Like I'm giving up all the Jews. I'm not telling no lies detected. I'm telling the whole truth and nothing but the truth. I will tell them as far as my life, I was a shithead. You know what I mean? Yeah. I got 5, 6 kids. You know what I'm saying? Papa was a Rolling Stone. Your Papa was a Rolling Stone. You know. Because you got some grandparents out there that really didn't. They didn't tell the story that you needed to hear, and they kept it confidential. And then you got some parents out there that didn't even tell you how they grew up and what they went through. It's sad. But I'm here to tell you, when it comes to my kids, my dad was very, very, he was a great granddad. I wouldn't say he was the best father in his early career, in his first marriage, but I do know this. When he married my mom and then I started having kids, man, he was a great grandfather, man. He was just like my grandfather, you know what I mean? Loving, caring, pick them up from school, feed them, give them what they want, spoil them, give them money. And that's what I plan on doing too, man. Let's give it up for that right there. But getting back to the rich and famous grandparents, who really wants a grandparent where they give you everything, but they still gonna control you and tell you what to do? I don't think that shit is cool, man. That can't be cool. and then you gotta wait till they die to get some money. Now, what if it's a whole bunch of y'all, and then it don't go right? Because that's what happened with my grandmother. She had a whole bunch of money, and we all got divided. That's the breakdown of the breakdown when your grandparents die. And after I speak on that, I'm gonna get off on it. I'm gonna get off here. But yeah, that's fucked up, man. When your grandparents die, they leave all this money for all the kids, their kids, to give to the grandkids, to the kids, to the grandkids. And then that's when everybody divides. That's when everybody gives up on each other. Because this person didn't get that much money, and this person didn't get that much money. And then it's all left to one person. That's the fucked up. That's the negative side about your grandparents. And they have no control of it because they left it on the wheel. You know what I mean? They left a certain amount of money to this person. They left a certain amount of money to this person. Then it's up for the kids to decide who gets what. That's the fucked up part of your grandparents. And they don't care because they're not here no more. Fuck it. So we do know after your grandparents die, that's when the family just breaks up and nobody like each other. Cousins start talking to cousins. Because we all know with our grandparents, they used to bring, most of our grandparents used to bring everybody together for Christmas, for Thanksgiving, 4th of July, birthdays, and church anniversaries. Let's give it up for that. And now these new modern grandparents, like people my age, we need to get back to doing that. Generation X, because the baby boomers are almost gone, baby. It's almost over with. So I challenge all the Generation X that's becoming grandparents. Start spoiling your grandkids. Tell them about your life. And make sure that they understand how it all got started. Have those Christmas dinners. Have those Thanksgiving dinners. Do the 4th of July thing. When it comes to your grandkids, make sure that you have birthday parties. Also, make sure you have family reunions. You gotta have family reunions. If y'all don't motherfucking have no family reunions, you know what? You're fired. These are the most important things in the life. So Generation X, y'all step it up, man. Y'all step that shit up. Get this shit cracking back again. And you know, I'm 46 years old. I don't have any grandkids yet. But my plans are in due time for my family when it comes to being married and my kids. I'm going to crank it up. We're going to be turned up. We kind of already started doing it a little bit. But in the future, when I have my first grandchild, you know what I'm saying, I'm going to turn the fuck up. Thanksgiving, Christmas. And I ain't talking about at my kid's house. You know, now grandparents, you know, they go to their kid's house and do, y'all come to my crib. We going to turn up at my crib and we going to finesse this shit. But yeah, for the younger generation, if you really want to find out your roots, talk to your mom and dad. And if your mom and dad are not together, still talk to them. You need to know both sides of the family. This is 100% fact. You must know both sides of the family. And stop being ignorant and saying, I don't fuck with my dad, I don't fuck with my mom, because they don't like each other, or it's always a narrative painted when it comes to your mom and dad if they not together and they don't get along. Do not choose sides, okay? Do not choose sides when it comes to who's right or who's wrong if you wasn't in their life together. There are 3 sides to every story, okay? Let's give it up for that right there. Let's stop that shit. Get to know your mom and your dad. If they wasn't together, you still need to get to know them. At some point, you need to just shut the fuck up and just take a L from your mom or whoever side you're on. Don't choose sides. You need to know your family history. Why would you want to be obsolete in your brain, in your mind, knowing that you have more than just one side of a fucking family? And then you only know one side of your grandparents. You see what I'm going with this? It's making you have a one-track mind, not knowing your grandparents, because your mom and dad don't get along with each other and they're not together. Then basically you just a fucking mutt, yo. You're just a mutt. If you don't know your family history, it's your mom's fault and it's your dad's fault, because they don't get along with each other. So when you get to a certain age, okay, and this goes for the young kids that's coming up all the way to 18, 19. If you're 25 and you still on that dumb shit, because you still mad, because you've been trained, you've been entertained to be that way, tighten your motherfucking ass. You know, I can't stand when kids be like, I don't know my mom and dad, I don't fuck with them. You never know what's behind that door. You never know that. If you never know your dad, you don't fuck with your dad, or you don't fuck with your mom because of what was said. And maybe that person did fuck up, right? Maybe that person did fuck up. Maybe that person wasn't in your life they were supposed to. You never know. Your dad might be rich. Your mom might be rich. They might got some real motherfucking shit going on. But because you've been entertained and your brain has been deleted because of what happened in the past, you miss your blessings. Anakin 9.5 Beach, man. We out of here, baby. Love y'all.